right? To do before you need to sell your house. How do you get it ready? And it's going to recommend 10 different ideas related to that concept. And what's even cooler is if you have no idea what to make your video about, you just hit the submit button without putting anything in, and it'll give you 10 random ideas that a real estate agent can make a video about, right? So so yeah, the point here is you can, what I'd love to see in the future is sort of one of my concepts behind AI is that we want to make really simple tools and just have a lot of them, right? Give people a suite of tools that they can use that only do that one thing. So for instance, you come up with the idea, you put that into the next tool that writes the script, right? Then you put it in another tool that writes the social media post for you, right? And again, I know you can do this stuff with ChatGPT, but a lot of these tools make it a lot more efficient. And most people don't know how to work with ChatGPT yet, right? So there's all kinds of different applications here. So what I just put into the chat as we sort of take our next step here, this is, and I'm going to just sort of put this in here. I say I can't eat garlic. I don't know if this is going to work because I haven't messed with this one in a while. We're just going to take it as a sort of a starting point. But here's what we're going to do, right? So don't even worry about the tool itself. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get the code to work with. So just to be clear, now is the point. You might already be overwhelmed. I understand. We're moving quick today. But this is the point where you're about to see some code, okay? So if the idea of looking at code, this is Python code, just so you know what you're looking at. If that intimidates you, I understand. You're not actually going to have to write any code. You're going to let ChatGPT do that work, okay? So what we're going to do now is you come to this website. This is a website that is meant for testing and developing new AI tools. So this is literally what this site is meant to do. And what's really cool is that as long as one of these is a public tool, and let me make sure I do have this set to public just in case you're going over there and can't access it all of a sudden. So let me just double check. Yeah, this is public, so you should be able to access it. But what's cool here is, and mess around with Huggingface after the webinar. Get on there, see all the other tools that are available. You can use them, right? That's kind of the point. But if it is a public tool, you can also get access to the code, and you can make your own version of these tools, right? It's a very sort of democratized platform. And so what we're going to do here, again, you're going to see some code. Don't freak out, right? We're going to come over here to Files. So the front page, the app is the actual tool that you're using. And what we're going to do is come down to this file, app.py. And most of the tools will have this file. This is a relatively simple tool, but you're going to see others, they're more advanced. They have more pieces in here. Obviously, this one I just sent you the link to, you should be able to access, and you should be able to copy my code. All right. Now, this is the code. Okay. Here's the crazy part. This is pretty much it. There's one other file that sets up a couple initial parameters, so to speak, but this is the actual tool. It's 40 total lines long, and some of those lines are just blank spaces, right? There's actually not that much code, and that's what's really cool about AI is that AI, I mean, this stuff is so advanced, it is so capable that all we're basically doing with the code is we're creating the front framework for it. We're telling the tool how to behave, and we're giving someone some boxes that they can put their inputs into, and then it's doing all the rest of the work. We don't have to write a whole bunch of complicated code. So what we're going to do here is we're going to highlight this, all right? We're going to copy it, the whole thing, right, top to bottom. All you got to do is highlight it and copy it, and we're going to come back to ChatGPT, all right? Now, we've already said, I want you to act as my code developer. I'll give you example code, and you will develop new code based on it. I want you, and I'm going to add another line in here that I found helpful. I want you to use this code exactly and only change the inputs and the prompt. You can change other parts if necessary, but do not delete anything, as this code was developed to avoid specific issues, okay? Now, behind the scenes, I've already done some of this work for you, okay? This code that I'm giving you access to, if you want to try this, there are certain things that it does. And again, I am not a coder, so if you are and you're going, oh my God, this guy's an idiot, fair enough, okay? But there's certain things in that code that were developed the way they were to avoid certain issues that I ran into. And what's real, I mean, this is mind-blowing. I've thought for many years, I never liked trying to code. I studied it a little bit in college and never really got into it. It's just not how my brain works. But I've always thought, hey, if I had a platform I could just sort of interact with, talk to, talk back and forth, or I could drag and drop certain pieces. I got all kinds of ideas for apps I'd love to make, right? I mean, I'm sure some of you feel that way too. This is what this is, right? This is the platform that now allows us to make any tool we can possibly imagine. It's absolutely mind-blowing, okay? So we start with that prompt, and then I'm going to hit shift and return a couple times to move down a little bit. I'm going to paste in the code, right? In fact, I might want to say, this is the template code you'll use. Okay, so I hit enter. There we go. So what should happen here, right? And there's always chances of errors. Hopefully we don't run into any errors as we're going, is that now it's going to say, okay, great. I've got this tool and I'm going to make something new from it, right? Now, I will say right here, there is a part in ChatGPT, if you're not familiar with this yet. If you come down here, you can go to custom instructions. And I've already told, so those custom instructions is basically where you say what you do for a living, who you are, any sort of information that you would want ChatGPT to always remember about you, even when you create a new chat, right? So what's kind of funny here is I wasn't thinking about this when I put it in, but what it did is it said, you know what? I know that you have this little business here that creates these tools, in particular a neighborhood matchmaker. So it just went ahead and wrote code for a neighborhood matchmaker. All right. So it's already edited all of this to reflect that new version. All right. So we're going to make, we're going to tweak it. I'm going to show you how to do that without that happening automatically. But you can see in here, right? So if we look at this code, in fact, let's just try this real quick. I'm going to copy this out. And then we'll see if it works right off the bat, right? We're going to come back to this tool, and I'm going to edit the code here, and I'll swap this back in later in case anybody was using this on Huggingface. Now, you can't do this part on my tool. You're going to have to create your own account in Huggingface, and you're going to set up your own space to do this. But I'm going to paste that in, and then I'm going to say commit changes to main, and that's how we save our new tool, right? Now, you can see I'll probably want to rename the space, all that kind of stuff. Again, this is mostly just an overview. But what's happening now, and look at this in particular, you are an AI assistant that provides neighborhood recommendations based on a user's preference, right? This part got rewritten. This part right here, and it's kind of hard to look at because of the way it's outlined. Let me scroll back over. And you can write it in a way that's easier to look at. But this part, right, that's the initial message. You can also think of that as the prompt. So if you were to go into ChatGPT and say, I want you to act as a neighborhood matchmaker, I want you to take some input, and then you're going to recommend to me where I should live. This is the same as ChatGPT. It's the same technology, right? And so that's the initial prompt, and that is in English. And it technically could be in other languages, I believe, too, but it's written in English. It's not code, right? So you can see that. You are an AI assistant that provides neighborhood recommendations based on a user's preferences. That is just a sentence. Any one of us could write that sentence, right? The other things that it changed, if you scroll a little bit further down, is you'll probably see that it has different inputs now, right? So you can see the inputs down there, enter your neighborhood preferences, etc. And so let's see what happened, right? So we'll go back to the app. And this is a more basic version of it, which I'm actually kind of glad it did that, because I'm going to show you how to add other inputs. So now you say, okay, I want a neighborhood that's got, some big yards, lots of parks. All right. And then I'm going to click submit, and it might give us an error. We'll see here, right? Because it may not be perfect. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We'll find out what it does. But you can see that it already created a completely different tool. Okay. So now, since we didn't tell it what like sort of city we were focused on, I'm pretty sure it probably just made these up. It is going to hallucinate in some cases. So that's what happened. So let's go back, and we're gonna tell it to make some changes. So it already made this tool, and just to be clear, it did it automatically. What I would have done is said, okay, I want you to develop a neighborhood matchmaker for me. I want you to allow people to input what city they want to live in, what preferences they have, and then how far from those preferences they want to be, right? So that kind of happened automatically, but let's go ahead and explain that back to it. So I want to add more inputs. One should allow the user to say what city they live in. Another should allow them to say how far from the amenities they are willing to be. That input should be a drop-down menu. Okay. Again, this, I mean, every time I mess around with this stuff, I'm always mind blown by what it allows me to do, right? So let's see if it gets this right or not, but it's going to go ahead and sort of repeat back to me what it thinks I wanted, and then it's going to write new code, right? And what's cool about the way we set this up in the first place is you can see all the stuff at the top is the same, right? That was stuff, again, that I had kind of had to develop in the past to make sure that we avoided some of the issues that some of these previous tools had run into. And there you go. It's writing out all the code, right? We're going to find out here in a second if it got it all right or not, right? So once it finishes doing this, we'll go ahead and copy it over. While we're waiting, I'm going to check the Q&A, see if I missed anything from earlier. Yes, we are definitely going. There's a recording. There's always a recording, folks. So if you're ever watching something inside of Lab Code Agents, you can know for sure that it will be recorded. These are always automatically recorded. All right, so here we have our new code. We're going to copy that out. We're going to come back over. We're going over to the files again. We're going to that app again, right? App.py. We're editing this, and we're going to just simply replace the existing code with the new version. And you can see it's a little longer now, right? Because we had different inputs we wanted to add, and then we commit those to main. All right, so now while we're waiting for that tool to build, which again only takes like 30 seconds, the stuff is so fast, it's kind of remarkable. I want to just mention one other thing that you're going to need, and that is that you're going to need your own API account with OpenAI, okay? So the way you do that is you literally Google OpenAI API, right? I pulled this up earlier. You're going to click on this first option, and then you're just going to need to create an account, right? So in this case, you go down to sign up. I already have an account, so I'll be able to show you some of it. You create your account, and then if you were to, I'm just going to log in so you can see what this looks like. We're going to come over here to API. And again, I know I'm moving fast. This is not a hands-on demo. We're going to go to our account, manage, view API keys, and we're going to create a new key, right? They're already in here. I have a bunch of them in here already. And then that's going to go into our settings, and it goes under this input, the secret OpenAI API key. We replace it and we put that in, right? So that what that does is it's going to allow you to use the back end of OpenAI, right? So it's the same, again, same technology that ChatGPT is built on top of, right? And what's really crazy here, this is maybe my favorite part. I've given people, like hundreds of people, access to these tools. I've been testing them like crazy. And so far, I've spent $1.84 this month. In the first 6-7 days here, I've spent $1.63 of that total, right? This is a relatively new account I set up about 2 weeks ago. That's nothing, right? I mean, hundreds and hundreds of iterations, hundreds and hundreds of people have used those tools, and it's cost me $1.63 in terms of the technological cost on the back end. This version of Huggingface doesn't cost anything, right? So they give you access to this for free. All right, so we're getting close to the end. We got about 10 minutes left. Obviously, I want to leave some time open for questions. Here's the new version, right? This is it. So we're going to, in this case, what are enter your neighborhood preferences? Let's say big yards again, good schools, fun kids activities. I have no idea, right? Enter the city. And actually, let's try a different one. I'm going to try Chicago. And then the distance from amenities, how far am I willing to be within 10 miles? I want to be somewhere that's not too far away, et cetera, right? That's going to generate the responses, and there we go, right? So what we were able to do here is, because some of this I saved you some effort, right? I gave you that initial link. There you go. It's giving you the recommendations. Now, one other thing I'm going to show you here that's kind of cool is if I come back in here into the code, you'll see right here, this is the model that it's using. Now, if you know anything about ChatGPT, you might know that there have been multiple models at this point, right? So they had ChatGPT 3.5, GPT 3.5, and they had GPT 3.5 Turbo. That's what this one is built on. If you set up a new API account and you prepay, I think it's like $5 minimum, right? Again, extremely affordable, remarkably affordable. You can now use GPT-4, which is trained on a lot more information, right? So all it had to do is come in here, edit this, and just swap this over to GPT-4. And I don't know if on the back end I had the right API key in here or not, so it may not work in this particular tool's case. But those other tools I built were built at this point, back to that initial demo I did for you, on GPT-4, right? So it's going to be very accurate. It very rarely says anything that is not true, which is sort of mind-blowing. And it has a lot more information, right? So I actually built a tool recently where I said, look, I want you to tell me where I should invest if I'm going to purchase a home, where I should invest in this particular area. And I want you to get granular all the way down to the subdivision name, right? Not just the neighborhood, but the actual subdivision, right? A few hundred homes, maybe 50 homes in one area with a specific name attached to it. Or give me an intersection where I should look, right? 2 roads, intersection. It actually was able to do that. So that's GPT-4. It's a little bit more advanced. You're going to get a little bit more accurate type information. And so here, we'll do one more time. I'm just going to say big yards, St. Louis, and then, short drive. I might not give us the most accurate information because that's not much to go on. Yeah, so I'm getting the error there, and that's because the API key I had in there is an outdated one. I need to switch it out for one that has GPT-4, right? But as long as you sign up from now moving forward, every new account, if it is prepaid by at least, I think, $5, you should be able to have access to GPT-4 as well. And so you'll be able to build tools like the ones I was showing you here on the front end, okay? Whew, all right, that's a lot to move through, okay? So I'm going to give you 2 options here moving forward if this was interesting to you, okay? Number 1 is we are going to be teaching a class on how to do this inside Business Video School, right? Now, this isn't necessarily video related, but video should be a big part of how you advertise and promote this, right? This demonstration landing page here, I had to take it off because I need to update it, but there was a video here at the top. You should make a video explaining how to use the tool, right? You don't want people to sort of see you and your business as just AI. You want people to see it as you, right? And that you're the one providing the AI tool. You're the one who's cutting edge. You're the agent that is ahead of their time, right? So that's one place you want to have video. You want to have video in the ads, right? You want to run ads on Facebook that have a video, again, that shows people how to use the tool or teases it and gets them interested, all that kind of stuff, right? So this goes a little bit beyond our typical business video school type education. But sometime here in about 3 or so weeks, we are going to start a course, 4 classes over 4 weeks. You're going to have plenty of time to work on your tool, build it out, set up some ads, set up some distribution, and even talk to you a little bit about how to get some emails ready to go that will trigger once those leads come in, right? So we're going to go through the entire process. So if you sat here today and you said, wow, that was a lot to cover, I need a more detailed explanation, but I do want to try to build something like this for my business, I do want you to check out Business Video School. So I'm going to put a link in the chat for you. Actually, let me just show you this real quick. This is the link I'm going to share. Don't tell anybody, but this is going to give you a decent discount on your membership, and it's also going to give you access to a $1,200 value vid funnel kit, which you would be able to keep forever, right? So you're getting your annual membership for $870. It saves you about 3 months of membership, and you get that entire vid funnel kit. I'll leave that link active here for about the next half hour. I'm really not supposed to be giving it out too much outside of our school. But if you do decide, hey, you know what, I want to come into Business Video School, I want to learn to do this stuff myself, I want to be able to build these tools, we will be training you here in a couple weeks on how to do it. So I would get signed up now. So you're in there, and obviously you can take advantage of that deal. If you don't want to take action now, but you want to sign up in a couple weeks, normal memberships are $97 a month. You just don't get the vid funnel kit, right? So if you're curious what comes in there, I'll just put this on the screen for a second so you can see what I'm talking about. This is the bonus that comes with this particular offer. You get access to literally like hundreds of things, 9 video scripts, 31 video templates, yada, yada. Maybe the best part of this is you get 3 complete ebooks that we pre-developed for you. All you have to do is drop your information into them. But this funnel can be tweaked to work with the AI tool, right? So if you are planning to work with us to develop that AI tool, get yourself signed up. We're going to show you how to build it. And then you can use this vid funnel kit to advertise it and drive people into your business, right? Second thing I will mention here before we get wrapped up, I do have a couple minutes for questions before I got to leave, is if you feel that you would like something like this, I am not doing this for many people right now. I have a couple more spots in my schedule. It's a side project, but I am building these tools for small businesses, all right? So again, side project, I'm not going to necessarily be able to work with everybody here, but I just put my phone number in the chat. If you would like to talk to me about having me develop one of these tools for you, I would build the code out, I would tweak it, adjust it for you, put all your contact information in there so it's always recommending you, and even probably could put together some of those marketing graphics for you as well. Just send me a text right now, right? So it's 636-541-7651. That is my personal cell number. So, hopefully don't spam me or anything like that. But if you do want to talk about having me build one of these tools for you, you can hop over and text me right now. We're going to wrap up here in just a minute or so. So I would do that before you forget to do it. Whew, all right. So that was a lot. We moved really quick, and I'm honestly impressed that I got done with 3 minutes to spare before a quarter till, which is when we're usually supposed to wrap these up. So I do have open a couple minutes here to answer any questions that you might have about how to do this, or if you have questions about kind of next steps to take. Now's the time to ask, right? And if you do want to have me build one of these tools for you, text me 636-541-7651 before we hop off, because you will lose access to the chat here in just a second. Yes, it is recorded, folks. Everything on Lab Coat Agents is always recorded and will be available, I believe, on the YouTube page here shortly. All right, so if you have any questions about what you saw here today, I'm happy to answer them for you here in the next minute or two. Obviously, this is pretty complicated stuff, but again, this is cutting edge, right? I mean, this is the sort of thing that ignore it at your own peril. That's fine. You can ignore it. It's not going to be the end of the world. Not everybody's going to be using these tools in the future. But if you want to be the agent that is the first in your market to say, hey, I've got these customized AI tools. I've got this neighborhood matchmaker. I've got this tool that's going to help you figure out how to sell your home for a higher dollar amount because it's creative marketing, whatever you want to do. I mean, we can build these, or I can help you build some other tools. And we're also going to be showing you in that class how to develop this stuff from scratch so you can make whatever version you want. Really, what I want to encourage you here is just think about this, right? Think about it. This is the kind of thing that you want in your business, because if you are the first to do it, you are probably going to get a lot more business out of it than if you were the 5th or the 10th or the 20th person to do it, right? So there's a big first mover advantage. There's a lot of people in your communities that are curious about AI that have not had a chance to use it yet. Let's see, is there a code to use for this? If you're talking about to sign up for that offer, that link I gave you already incorporated the discount. It already incorporates so there's no code, right? So if that's what you're asking about, that link takes you directly to the page where you sign up and you get basically 3 months of the school for free. If I'm misunderstanding your question, let me know. Yeah, implemented through the Chime CRM. Absolutely, because all you would do is you have a form, they sign up on your form, then you have an email from Chime that comes out with a link to the tool, which can be embedded anywhere on your website, right? So if you have a tool that lets you build landing pages, if you work with me, I can set the landing page up for you. It's no worries. But as long as you have a way to take somebody's contact information and send them an email, which as far as I know, all CRMs pretty much do that at this point, then yes, you can integrate this with existing CRMs. So again, that's the point, right? The tech on the back end, a little bit obviously confusing, although you don't have to be able to write any code. So it's a lot less confusing than it used to be. But in terms of using it in your marketing, it's literally as simple as I have a guide, I have a list of homes, whatever kind of marketing you've been doing, you're just going to send them a link to this page instead of whatever that guide would have been, right? So that part of it is actually really simple. All right, we're at 12:45 my time. I know we're quarter till here, so we do got to get wrapped up. I do want to thank you all for joining me. I know we moved quickly here. Let me know in the chat, though, before we wrapped up, if you felt like this was useful or beneficial at all, because I do want to know if we should continue to sort of head down this path, right? So if you felt like, you know what, maybe it was a little overwhelming, but this would be cool to see more of this kind of stuff in the future. I absolutely can do more trainings on this here inside of Lab Coat Agents. I could do some more pre-recorded videos that might be a little slower that I could put out into the Facebook group. Obviously we're kind of limited on our time here, but just let me know before we wrap up so I can get a little bit of feedback. So I see, thanks, awesome, cool stuff. Like the ideas that you presented. Cool. All right, cool. I appreciate it. So, and if you do set this up on your own end, send me your tool. I want to see what you create, right? Because it really is very, very open-ended in terms of what you can do for this stuff. And I also will say this. Pat yourself on the back for being ahead of your competition in this area. AI is probably going to be the most impactful technology. Obviously, it's artificial intelligence. It was always going to be the most impactful tech once it finally came out. I kind of can't believe it's real already at this point in human history. But good for you for taking it seriously, getting out ahead of that curve, and trying some new things, right? Because that's going to pay off for you, I think, in really, really massive ways in the months and years to come. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate the feedback. Sounds like there is some interest in seeing more of this in the future. So I will come back to do more later on. All right. Thanks, folks. It was good talking to you, and I will see you next time.